My room looks like shit. Welcome back. Today I'm gonna try my best to explain the absurdity of Gen Z humor. Honestly, doing this much research to explain why low poly Hagrid submerged in water, labeled water, is funny to me has been a complete waste of time, but I found it interesting, so you're gonna have to listen to me anyway. I was born in 2006, which kind of makes me the middle child of Gen Z. I'm 15, which makes YouTube older than me. I've never seen a VHS tape in my life. I've used CDs when I was like really young, maybe once or twice. But I remember that I got called a cunt in a Scribble.io lobby when I was in 6th grade. That's the thing unique to Gen Z, is that we knew the World Wide Web was right here. It's always been here, at least to us. A quick disclaimer, just know that I'm talking about different generations in very, very broad terms. If I say that one generation is this, or that Gen Z humor is that, know that there's obviously exceptions. The concept of generations are very loose, and are just really an imprecise way of categorizing people. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Like every previous generation, our humor is shaped by the cultural and social situation. The zeitgeist, if you will. I'm not saying we're the first generation to ever consume media, but unlike newspapers and TV channels, which are restrictive in a sense, we are able to pick and choose what piece of media to consume. In turn, the 1% pay smart people to code specific algorithms to keep me hooked on their websites so they can make more money in return. I get to see Genghis Khan cancelled on Twitter, they get to see everything I do. And with technology advancing at an ever-increasing rate, the accessibility has also proportionally increased. And that's where we encounter our first problem. You know when your friends crack a joke at your expense and you laugh half-heartedly because you're insecure and sad? Now imagine that friend makes that joke 2, 3 more times. Maybe they switch a couple words around. It's not funny anymore. This is essentially what happens to memes. The internet provides communication, so it kind of acts like your friend group. If your friend group was hostile and weirdly political, one funny person makes a meme template, which then spawns hundreds upon thousands of the same meme with maybe the premise switched around. And keep in mind that a meme is incredibly short. It's literally an image with like tops 4 lines of text. You consume it in approximately 10 seconds. You go, oh, that's funny, in your head, and then you keep scrolling. And then you see it a second time, but oh, the premise has changed. No. It's not funny anymore. And due to the fact that there's references within a meme to other memes and other formats, you have to be like so tuned in to just understand like the sound effects, like the audio, the video. And you can't be late to a meme, you have to catch it like right on time, which is also pretty difficult if you're not chronically online. Memes and trends have incredibly short lifespans if we're operating on the principle of, if I've seen it before, it's cringe. Things that were cool 2-3 years ago seem fucking archaic and bad, really bad. So how does Gen Z navigate this? How do we find anything funny if it dies as soon as it's born? Ever watch Twilight or any other bad movie and actually like it because it's more entertaining to make fun of it than actually settle on a good movie? Verbal irony is such a crucial tool to Gen Z humor. Irony is not new, we didn't invent it or something. In fact, a lot of boomer memes kind of just stop here. They're just ironic in some way. But irony has enabled memes to kind of have like a second life. A meme becomes unfunny, unpopular, and forgotten until, like, usually not even a year later, it's brought back. And because it's so unfunny and unpopular, it's funny again. But, just like its previous life cycle, even enjoying memes ironically has its limits, and then, yeah, the ironic meme dies as well. And this is where it gets really messy. Post-irony is the return to sincerity from irony. Think of it kind of like a pendulum. We start from this side, in sincerity. Some people genuinely enjoy Twilight. Then we swing into irony. My friends and I enjoy Twilight because it's so fucking bad. Post-irony is going back to sincerity. Sometimes, when I watch Twilight, I find Alice Cullen kind of hot. And I'm kind of enjoying myself. You see what I mean? A post-ironic statement has an ironic tone, but you actually mean what you're saying. It heavily relies on context, but for example, if I say, wow, your pants look so good, ironically, I don't think your pants look good. But post-ironically, your pants do look good. I'm just saying it ironically. You see what I mean when I said it was gonna get bad? At this point, the whole pendulum thing I was referring to, forget that. Meta-irony is like an entire other thing, but it kind of resides like in parallel to post-irony. Meta-irony is confusion, essentially. Sincerity and irony have mixed up so much at this point that you don't know if they're being serious or not. I think a pretty good example is Andrew Curtis on TikTok. You've definitely seen him in like some cringe comp or on TikTok. But let's look at one of his videos.
Oh, hi there. My name's Charmander, and I recently learned a new trick. Well, I can turn myself into a wolf. Can I show you? Yay! Okay, bear with me here. Or should I say, wolf with me here. Okay, 1 second.
Literally the first time I saw that clip, I was sobbing on the floor. Now recently, there's been a couple of TikToks of him breaking character, but for a very long time, people didn't know if he was joking about this entire persona or not, because his entire online personality on TikTok revolved being this like cringy 2010 like furry person. Before he like showed videos of him breaking character, he never left the character, and that left people really uneasy and unsure and confused, and that's meta-irony. He's not the only one. Obviously, any type of troll that kind of sticks to their character a bit too well, I would consider as using meta-irony. I'm thinking of like Trisha Paytas probably falls in that category. Pupinia Stewart, I don't know if you guys remember her.
So if you can't understand this video, you need to learn Americanish.
There's also That Martin Kid on TikTok.
What do I do for fun? Well, I pretty much just play video games and wallow in my own self-pity. Sounds fun, I know. Also, fun fact about me is I have terrible memory. What was your name again? Nice to meet me. Sorry, you. As surprising as it may seem, I've already met myself.
So I did a terrible job of explaining all this irony stuff, but if you want to hear an actually good explanation, I recommend watching J-Reg's video on it. I'll link it down in the description. The reason why other generations, especially millennials, kind of steer clear of meta-irony is, again, due to how we kind of grew up a little bit differently. For millennials, they grew up alongside technology, while for Gen Z, it pretty much pre-existed us. Millennials don't stick to meta-ironic jokes because it's embarrassing and they'd get clowned on by their millennial friends. But for Gen Z, it's funny to stick to a bit, and it's not embarrassing. It's actually, you know, like a good thing. Also, a quick note, I feel like that it's important to emphasize that post-irony and meta-irony heavily rely on the creator. You must know the person well, or at least be familiar with the creator to understand the post-irony, or else you might take it the wrong way. And meta-irony is literally the lack of separation between the person and the joke. So, trends and memes, you know, go really quickly, but I didn't really explain the actual memes. I explained like why they're so quick and, you know, why there's so many in such a short amount of time. But like, what about the actual humor? I saw an article that compared Gen Z humor to Dadaism, which is an art movement, and I'm gonna quote something because I can't define things. Dadaism rejected the logic, reason, and aestheticism of modern capitalist society, instead expressing nonsense, irrationality, and anti-bourgeois protests in their works. Thank you, Wikipedia. And I think Dadaism perfectly describes Gen Z humor. Gen Z humor relies on absurdism and diverting the audience's expectations. This can be attained using distorted audio and video. So something like a really loud noise, maybe it's auto-tuned, maybe deep fried, warped, it's at different speeds, there's filters. The joke, most of the time, is that there's no joke. Gen Z humor is weird and absurd. Though I definitely think millennials started this push. I see a lot that SNL and Tim and Eric are credited by starting this like weird, zany humor. But remember when I was talking about oversaturation, how the internet has connected so many people? The internet is so big that Gen Z have to make weirder and weirder jokes to kind of keep up. And it's kind of spiraled because now we're goofing on John Cena's Mandarin. But you also have to keep in mind something else. Remember the comparison between the Dada movement and Gen Z humor. Though unlike the Dada movement, which was a reaction to the horrors of World War I, Gen Z humor is rather a reaction to the internet. And what ability do we gain from the internet? Knowing every single fucking thing ever at all times. It's not entirely bad. The internet is an incredible tool for education, formally and informally. It also, you know, is a great tool for communication, and it's really great when you can kind of connect with an online community. But it also means that I'm painfully aware of every single problem ever. It's honestly depressing. It feels like we'll never be able to solve anything just because there's so many problems. Both millennials and Gen Z are really in tune with that, and that's why you kind of see a very large-scale trend of young people being very sad. There's been an influx of mental health problems within the younger population, the most common being anxiety disorders, ADHD, depression. I'm sure there's obviously other contributing factors to general unhappiness with the younger population, but I definitely think the internet is a huge contributor. But nihilistic millennial humor is still very different from nihilistic Gen Z humor. Millennial jokes are pretty emo, at least to like today's standards, but they're generally directed towards the person themselves. Gen Z, on the other hand, we don't really have a problem making fun of something very serious. We joke about things we really shouldn't. From World War III memes, remember that? To school shooting jokes. Gen Z humor, or humor in general, is used as a coping mechanism, as a way to deal with everything going on. And you know, like every generation thinks they're the greatest generation, but I think the internet has really enabled us to, I don't know, maybe do better. I really hope we're geared for better change. Sorry, my head's like significantly lower. I've been kneeling for 40 minutes and I can't feel my feet and I'm just tired now. But thank you for watching. If you sat through all of that, do you seriously have nothing better to do? I'm gonna link 2 videos I found that were like really insightful about Gen Z humor, so I encourage you to check them out. They will also be down below. Bye bye!